Um, so, I mean, there's whether or not you think withdrawal is the right move. I think there are two separate questions. One is, should we withdraw? And I think the answer is probably yes to that. And then there is the way that we've withdrawn. And that's where I would say that's where I've been the most upset by this. I've read this take that's sort of floating around now that anyone who complains about the withdrawal is really just wants us to stay in Afghanistan forever. And the complaints about the withdrawal are just a way of sort of venting frustration about the fact that they want us to stay in an endless war. And I really think that's wrong. I think these are two separate things, right? Like, you could completely agree that we should have withdrawn. You could think that we should have withdrawn, a decade ago, but still see the fact that, so like today I read in the Times that we've got in total 250,000 people, just Afghanis who have worked with us directly as translators, as all kinds of different links to local communities and so forth, have worked with us directly and therefore against the Taliban. And, if we are going to get out by August 31st, at best, we're getting maybe not even really half of them out. And
it's really bad. I so agree with you. You could be in favor of withdrawal, and why not just start it earlier? I've got a lot of former students who are vets, and I kind of trust them the most, not the politicians that are grandstanding, but the actual people who fought there. And I've got former students who are actually like cell phone texting people, putting together private ways of getting people that are stuck there, Afghans that work for them, that are, and these are even some students that are against immigration, right? But it's more like, look, we struck a deal with them. They helped us. They saved my life. I gave them a promise. And they did this for so many years, and their lives are now in danger. So we have to get them out. So I've got students in New York that have little private networks going on. And that's where I just agree with you. Like, why is it so we only have like 4 days left and we don't know where these people are and we have no way of getting them out? And, Bagram Air Force is closed down. And I mean, it's chaos. I think the execution was, really, and it all comes down to the fact why there's one question. Why didn't they start earlier? In some ways, just slowly extricating some people, processing these visas. Because under these circumstances now, this is one of the things I say in political tribes. Why are we always coming from behind in foreign policy? It's like we're in like this fifth best world where, there are these checkpoints, everything is a mess. And now we're trying to do our best. But it didn't have to be that way. It could have been planned better from the beginning.
Yeah. And no doubt there's lots of complexity, but in principle, like the basic principle that you make it your new mission, the military's new mission in Afghanistan is to evacuate every last person who helped us. And we know their names, they're on a list because they work with us, and we can process their visas, and we use the threat of all of our military force to ensure that the Taliban doesn't mess with this evacuation process.
Right.
And then only once the last person is left do we begin actually evacuating all of our credible threat of force. In principle, it's not rocket science, although I'm sure there are complexities to it that I don't understand.
But I sometimes I wonder why people can't just have common sense, because I think humility is important. It's true. We're not on the ground. We don't know specifically. But I think that you're right. Like, what is so complicated about that? Why wouldn't that be the normal way that you would do things?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's this gesture to, well, we can't solve all the world's problems and so forth. But I find that to be, true, but just such an empty statement in this case, because it's, yes, there's going to continue to be refugee crises all around the world. And it's true, we're not solely responsible to fix all of them or to alone take all of the world's refugees every time. But in this case, we have a case where we went into a country, a country that's not ours, right? We invaded a country and asked people to help us fight an enemy. And now we're potentially hanging many of those people out to dry. It's a problem of our creation. This is not an abstract issue to care about, just to go above and beyond, right? It's a moral obligation to help the people.
Yeah, I think there's a moral obligation, but you can also think of it in terms of instrumental terms. Like if the reputation gets out there that the U.S. doesn't keep its promises, that if you tell people, that this is what we're going to do and you don't do it, I mean, it's not good in terms of an incentive structure going forward either.